your name is?
Yoni Barber.
And your background is?
So I live here in the Jerusalem area with my family, and we've lived here about 10 years. So we moved here from the UK.
So you're saying something interesting about this news that have been recently.
Yeah, so I looked on the BBC, on the news site on December the 25th, and I read about the decline of the Christians in Bethlehem. And I was quite shocked by the analysis, because the main thrust of the BBC's news report was that the Christians had declined in Bethlehem because of the Jews and especially because of the war. That was their main point. And actually the decline has been dramatic, because when Israel was established, Bethlehem was almost 90% Christian. I think 86%, something like that. And then in the last census in 2017, there were 10% Christians. So it's a huge, huge, huge decline in the Christian population. But everybody here knows why. Right across the Middle East, Christians have had a very hard time living in Islamic communities. So where Islam is strong, it's very difficult for Christians to manage. So, well, a friend of mine had a takeaway business and he tried to make it work, and he said that the Muslims just pushed him out, harassed him, hassled him, threatened him, and it can turn to violence, so he couldn't stay and he couldn't make it work where he was in the West Bank. So I think that is a typical pattern across the Middle East, that first of all everything seems fine, but then Islamic laws come in and threats against Christians, and it becomes very difficult for them. So Bethlehem itself is 3 miles into the West Bank. So since the Oslo Accords, the number of Christians has dropped dramatically in the West Bank. But you can contrast that to Israel, where the growth in the number of Christians is more than 1,000%. I think there is about 420,000 Christians here in Israel today, whereas previously it was much, much lower than that.
Yeah, how much have the Christian population grown exactly?
I don't have I can't recall the precise figure, but it's more than 1,000%. So today it's 420,000. When Israel was established, it was a few thousand. The exact number I can't recall. Thank you.